Example 3, let's see if we can take the words and draw a picture. So the position y at time is 0 is -4, and so that's right here. And then after 3 seconds, it is at -18, which is right there. So then I'm going to assume that after 3 more seconds, it's going to go back to where it started, because it says it oscillates up and down, up and down, up and down. So the midline, you can take the average, because this is an average halfway between. So if I take -4 plus -18, I get, divide that by 2, I get -22/2, and I get -11. So let me correct that. Why I wrote -10, I have no idea. So I can see it's 7 from here to here, and 7 from here to here. That's your double check. So if it's 7 up and 7 down, you're right. My amplitude should have been 7. We're back to talking about sine and cosine. So the period normally is 2 pi divided by b. And to go down and back up again and start over here, that's a period of 6. And then I can find the b value if I want to for later. So the period is 6, cross multiply, 6b equals 2 pi, divide both sides by 6, I get b is pi over 3. I'll need that later. That's not the period though. The period is 6. So let's see what I have to do to fix this, because I'm sure I messed up. So here's our cosine graph. I'll do that in blue, a fuzzy blue. So then the amplitude is 7. Let me fix that. And there isn't a shift. I put a 0 here just to emphasize the point. And the midline, you're right, I need to correct that also, is -11. I'm going to take this point for my sine graph, or sine equation, and it's going to go down, up, and back down again, and it'll end up here. But I can use cosine's graph because the midline is going to be the same. That'll be 11. And the period is still going to have the same b value of pi over 3. And the amplitude is going to be 7, you're right. But since I went down first, I'm going to say that it's -7. It's a sine graph that goes down first instead of up. And then the shift to the right, well, let's see. If that's 6, that's 3, and so half of 3 is 1.5 to the right. In example 4, let's again draw the diagram and see if we can make sense of this. So at the beginning of the problem, it's 3 feet at its lowest, so that's here. And then 71 feet at its highest, and then it's going to go back down again. And this occurs every 5 hours. So the period is 5. Now to find the middle or the midline, I again take the average of the high and the low. Add them together, divide by 2, and we get 37. Now, be very, very careful. Students tend to confuse the midline with the amplitude. There's the midline. But to go from 37 up to 71 and down to 3, it's not 37, is it? It's 34. That's the amplitude. Don't confuse the midline with the amplitude. So then again, we're back to sine and cosine, so the period is 2 pi, divided by b is 5, cross multiply, divide by 5 to get the b value that determines the period. And that'll go here and here. Our amplitude that we saw from the midline up and down is 34. And sine, I like to start in the middle and go up, down, and back up again because that's what sine looks like. Now, if this is 5, half of that is 2.5, and half of that where sine starts is 1.25. There's the midline, there's the amplitude, there's the shift. And here's the number that determines the period. The difference here is I'm going to start here for cosine, because that's a cosine graph. Starts at the top, goes down and back up again. The b value doesn't change, the midline doesn't change. Our shift to the right is half of the 5, that's 2.5 to the right. Now some of you might have liked to do this for your cosine graph. The only difference would be there's no shift, but the number in front would be negative 34 because it's an upside down cosine graph, and that would have been fine also.